Okay, so let's look at this very simply. Build rapport, what's that about? Then we're going to look at defining value. What's that about? What's the value of the product you're selling? Because it's the value of the product, and the better I can communicate the value of this product, the more likely you are to buy it. There's a third part to the entire formula, and that is relevance. What is the relevance of this product to me? So in the world of sales, they have identified spending hundreds of millions of dollars on research of this, because you have to realize this is not the $64,000 question, this is the $64 million question. If you can figure out the formula that you can sell anything to anybody, and you figured it out, you know what that formula is, you've created a fail-safe formula, then essentially you've made yourself rich in the world of advertising, the world of sales. So it's worth so much money to them to be able to say, if you follow this formula, you're guaranteed that the customer will buy from you. Close to 100% guarantee. That's extraordinary. And there are certain products that know that you're going to buy it, not on a want level or need, but a must level. And because they know that, guess what they do to the markup on the must level? There's two products which are 800% plus in the markup. And they are jewelry, fashions, and medication, pharmaceuticals. Why? Because it happens to be the population who buy jewelry and the fashions. It's not I want to look beautiful or need to. I must. I have to look beautiful. So they've got you on the must level, and that's why the markup is so high. On the pharmaceutical, hey, what's at stake over here? I want to live. I need to be healthy. I must survive. I must be healthy. I can't die from this illness, this infection. I don't want the cough to become pneumonia and hospital, God forbid, die from it. So at what level am I buying the medication? Want, need, or must? Oh, that's a must. Once the advertising agencies have got you at a must, guess what they do to the price? Slightly inflate it, 800% plus. In fact, as you know, probably living in America, if you're watching this, you will know that you're paying a small fortune in medical insurance in order to afford something that you must have. So we've got a whole medical insurance industry that's working with the pharmaceutical industry and the hospitals and the doctors. I'm not describing a conspiracy. I'm explaining the business components of this formula that enables a product which costs way less than the amount of money it costs to actually produce, but they can sell it at a markup that's hundreds of times its real value in terms of money. Its real value in terms of saving a life, there's no price. That's why they can sell it. Okay, so just understand, I'm not quoting a Gemara over here, but I'm sharing with you, this is reality. Once you get the customer to a must-have, you can sell them anything. And that's the formula. The formula is build rapport. I'm going to look at this very soon, very, very closely, because we've got to switch this into the classroom. Build rapport with your student, with your customer, and communicate the value of all the products that you're selling to your customer as much as you possibly can. And the extent to which it's relevant to that customer, you've done those three, you've built it up to a must-have, then it's guaranteed sold. It's sold on a level that the person writing the check or giving you the credit card is not asking you even the price. Now, I'm exaggerating slightly, but the only reason they're asking you the price is so they know what to write on the check. But there's no question in their mind they have to pay for this. The only question left is, how do I pay? Okay, I might have to roll it over on several credit cards, I have to pay in installments, but I've got to have this. I need to look beautiful. I need to live. So I have to have it. So I get an insurance company to cover as much as I possibly can with the lowest deductible possible, etc. So in sales, they have figured out, okay, so what is the value that I'm selling to you? So there are essentially 4/5 items that if a salesperson can show you that on 1, 2, 3, or all of these, your life is going to be improved because of this product or service, That's what's going to sell the value, and we're going to soon see relevance of the product to reach from wanting it to needing it to must having it. So for example, number one, and it's not necessarily in this order, but number one, if this is going to make you look good, and you're going to improve your outer image, that's very big in America. The clothes makes the man, which of course is totally false, because you and I are not a body or our clothing. We are our mind, our thought, our soul. We've covered that on different DVDs. If I can show you that this particular product is going to make you look good, certainly cosmetics, certainly jewelry, certainly fashions, and pharmaceuticals as well, because that's going to mean that you're not going to look bad because you're ill, or you've got creases because you're getting older, or whatever it is that's going to improve your physical appearance. So I'm going to be able to elevate you from wanting this to needing it to having to have it. If you're more and more vain, there's no question about it. But even without that, we are designed to want to look good for the most part. Okay, so that's one of them. Number two, if I can show you that by buying this product or this service, you're going to have more financial security, or you're going to make more money because of it. So that's also a hot button. Hot button number one, the way I look. Number two, financially, somehow it's going to improve my life financially. Oh, so that will catch my attention. Number three, your health. Oh yeah, if you can show me that this product or service is going to improve my health in some way, yes, then definitely I'm interested. Tell me about it. I want to hear. There's almost nobody who doesn't care about the health. Otherwise, they wouldn't be brushing their teeth in the morning, and they wouldn't be getting dressed and going to work. They care about the health. They want to put bread on the table. They want to eat. They want to live. So you're going to get their attention if it has to do with looks, has to do with money, has to do with health. Number four, and again, it's not necessarily in this order. Everyone's got their own list of priorities where they're going to list these items. But number four is marriage. Oh, big one. If I can show you this is going to improve your marriage, of course you've got my attention. Or it's going to improve your relationship with your children. You can call that number five. Actually, all relationships come under that one big headline, an umbrella headline if you want to call it. And then you've got marriage, relationship with your children, and with your co-workers and your boss, etc., and your clients and your customers. So all that really comes under the relationship umbrella. If you can show me that by buying this clothing or driving this car is going to improve my social status, and therefore my relationships, and people are going to look at me in a different way, hey, you're hitting me on several buttons. I'm going to look good, and I'm going to look rich probably in a certain type of car. There's prestige, so that makes me feel better about myself as well. Do you understand that the more they can sell you, now a lot of this has to do with manipulation, but what I'm describing of here, and this is really important to understand, is the more the salesperson can articulate the true value of the product or service that they're selling, the more you're going to buy from me, but not because I'm selling. You're going to buy because you see the true value. And if you experience the true value, you try the suit on and you realize, oh my gosh, this is excellent quality. I can hardly feel it on me. And it's in fashion, and it fits me perfectly, and everything's right about it, and it suits me. So you're the one who's buying. But if it's the salesperson, oh, it looks so good on you. Oh my, this is you have no idea. It looks great on you. And you're saying to yourself, you're looking in the mirror, not really sure about that. And if you go and buy it, you haven't 100% bought it because you bought it. You're going on their word, on someone else's word, that it looks good on you. If you convince yourself that it looks good on you, whoa. What happens if the salesperson tells you, at the back, it's a little bit baggy. We can bring that in, or if you want, we can pull it in a little bit, or if you want, we can get a different jacket off the rack, see if it's a better fit. So that honesty is building more trust. And then you see that he's looking out for you, not for him. And in that relationship, building rapport, you are going to want to buy and trust his word and buy his product because you're buying it and not because he's selling it to you. So I'm just trying to help you see in the sales part of the formula where there's a difference between selling and buying. And now we're going to very soon see how that works in the teaching child-student relationship. It's exactly the same parallel. And it's so important to get this so that you don't have kids who are graduating from yeshiva robots. And don't really, as soon as they got a little bit of freedom, they don't want to daven 3 times a day, Has v'shalom. Or they're not going to learn b'kfiyas because they're not in yeshiva, there's no structure. Well, no, you want the child to have bought in and love learning, that he wants to learn a little bit bein hazmanim after davening. He doesn't want to go on vacation immediately until he's learnt a bit with a chavruso on the phone or on himself, by himself, if he's that motivated. That's inside out, and that's buying in. That's not being sold to. Being sold to means the child doesn't want the moment he's left the store. The moment he's left yeshiva, the moment he's left home, he's Has v'shalom going to have a watered down version of his performance of mitzvahs and Torah. That's not what we want, because then that means it was sold to him, but he didn't buy into it. And we're talking about how do you get children to buy. And that's a lot of it hangs, don't take this with any guilt, a lot of it hangs on the personality of the teacher. How much do they love the children? How much do they sincerely care to understand the needs of each child? How much does the teacher want the child to help the teacher identify, where am I holding in reading? Where am I holding in Chumash, in Mishnayos? What is my skill level that I can reinforce, strengthen, and then build from there? The more the child realizes that my teacher is interested in me personally and is taking a personal interest in where I'm holding in my learning and trying to build me from there, the more you're building rapport. The child trusts you. The more the child feels your respect for them, like Chazal tell us, at the deathbed of Rabbi Eliezer ben Hurkanus, his Talmidim asked him, Rabbeinu, teach us the right advice that will give us both this world and the world to come. And he said, Hizharu b'kavod chavereihem. Be careful with the kavod of your peers. Meaning, the more the child senses that my Rebbe respects me, the more they're going to want to respect the teacher and buy from him, trust what he's selling. The more the child feels, hey, you're here to protect me. You're teaching me all about bullying, really. And you're giving me all the components of bullying and helping me understand who are the people in bullying. You've got the bully, you've got the bystander, you've got the victim, the target, and what type of bystander. Is it a bystander who just walks past and pretends nothing's going on, ignores the screaming for help? Or is it a bystander who comes and hesitates and wants to help but is afraid he'll get hurt himself, especially by the bully, and become the next victim, and so he's quiet? Or are you going to be bystander number 3 who jumps in and does something about it, like Moshe Rabbeinu did? You might recall from the bullying series that we did. A child who sees my Rebbe is here to protect me, give me clarity, help me understand how to resolve conflict. The Rebbe is here to teach us how to learn the mitzvah of Teichacha with little puppets, and then role play that out with ourselves. And then when it comes to the real scenario, he reminds us. So Chaim, did you do the right thing to call a name to Moshe? No. So what should you do? Yeah, but Moshe tore up my homework. So, but did you do the right thing to call him a name? No. So what should you do if you do the wrong thing? Get him to say sorry. And Moshe, did you do the right thing to tear up his homework? No, Rebbe, but and that's 3rd generation. Don't go into 3rd generation of accusations. You're going to get trapped into being an arbitrator and policeman. The children who recognize that the teacher won't get trapped into becoming the judge of the class, the arbitrator and policeman or policewoman of the class, recognizes, oh, I get it. You're not arbitrating, you're helping guide me to resolve the conflict by myself. You're giving me a tool that I'll be able to stand up by myself and talk to people and ask them, why did you do that? And then when I realize that it was a misunderstanding, I can apologize or give them the choice to apologize, and if they're not ready, I'll wait it out. You're giving children clarity. When you're doing that, you're adding value to what you're bringing to the classroom. And it's relevant to the children's world, because even though they're not into looks, they're not into financial responsibility and making lots of money and buying beautiful homes in zip codes and fancy cars, that's not where they're holding, and hopefully not yet either necessarily. But you're hitting them where the value of what a child needs is real for them. Self-esteem, self-confidence, trusting myself because you trust me. That when I put my hand up and you won't make me wrong, even when I make a mistake, you'll celebrate my process in thinking. Even though I gave you a wrong answer, I had a reason why, and that's what you're going to glorify. You're going to celebrate that in class. And if a kid laughs at me because I got the wrong answer, you help clarify for the whole class who deserves more comfort. The kid who put his hand up and took the risk of being wrong, or the kid who didn't put his hand up and just laughs when the other kid makes a mistake. And everyone knows the answer. Oh, the kid who had the courage to put his hand up and take the risk of being wrong. And you turned around the whole imbalance of power of the bully who's laughing in the middle of the class at the kid who got the wrong answer, and he's putting down the kid who got the wrong answer, but now you help raise the estimation of self-esteem, estimation of self in the eyes of that child and the rest of the kids by recognizing, wow, you've got courage to risk being wrong. And I celebrate that, because when you make a mistake, you're more likely to get more clarity in the future. And the fact that you risked it means you've got courage. And guess what? In business, not just business, building yeshivas, anything, but in business, who are the most successful? The ones who never make a mistake and they're successful from the start? That's not typical. Harvard Business School, this is going back about 12, 15 years, they put out a report on multi-millionaires identifying the top ingredients that were sad l'shav, were common to all multi-millionaires. And right at the top was they failed the most times in business. You understand what that means? They failed the most times. That means they started again and again and again and again. They just didn't give up. Why didn't they give up? Because they didn't. They tried again. Effort, courage, bravery, taking a risk. We'll celebrate that. Laughing at others who are trying? We don't celebrate that. We look down on it. You've just switched the imbalance of power. And by sharing that up front, you're helping children realize, wow, what value. And the kids aren't articulating this in their minds. They don't have that vocabulary yet, but they know it instinctively. What value my teacher's bringing to the classroom in teaching us about bullying, in teaching us how to do the mitzvah Torah, in giving us a metaphor every week that builds my mind inside out, that I'm strength. I've got inner resilience. I'm always healthy. It's always sunny above the clouds. And if I get cloudy thoughts, hey, I can move on to the next thought. If I keep banging myself with this hammer, which is really just a thought of anger and frustration, and I'm really upset, and etc., it's thought in the moment. How far am I away from dropping the hammer and not carrying all these heavy thoughts around with me? Because they're thoughts. When children realize, oh, my Rebbe, my Mora, is all about building me inside out, guess what happens to the rapport? Guess what happens to the level of value that they sense I'm getting from being in your classroom? And what happens to the relevance? This is relevant to me because I don't want to be a bully, and I don't want to be the target, I don't want to be the type of bystander that does nothing about it. What happens to the child in terms of relevance when they realize you are helping me identify where I'm really holding in the syllabus, in the curriculum, in my skill set, so that you can build me from there, as opposed to hold me to a higher level where most of the rest of the class are, but I'm not up to that yet, and I can't, because I can't close that gap until I actually know the skills needed to close that gap. And you're helping me do that. You're not holding me to finger in place and following inside. You know why? Because I can't, and you see that. You see that I can read accurately, but not fluently. I'm still up to Vi, Yoy, Mer, Ha, Shem, El, Moshe. And the class is going at a pace of Vi, Yoy, Ma, Shem, El, Moshe, and Hashem said to Moshe. And I'm going, whoa. So I've got a finger in a place, not the place. There's nothing wrong with me. Alpi Darkai means at the rate that I need to go at to keep up with myself, not with you. I'm not in competition with anyone else. So when the Rebbe takes the time to notice that I can read accurately but not fluently, and and helps me close that gap. What happens to the poor? What happens to value? What happens to relevance? Yeah, this is relevant because I'm living in a text-based system. If I'm not successful in reading fluently, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the class, and I'm going to hate reading, and then I'm not going to ever want to be called upon to read. I'm not going to want to, when I get married, read Kiddush, the first Shabbos. I'm invited to my in-laws. Oh no, please don't do this to me. And that's a real fear for some kids who haven't learned to, but you took care of that in the class, first, second, third grade, whichever grade you're teaching. You're adding value and relevance in the minds of the children. The children can't necessarily articulate this, but that doesn't mean it's not registering. They know exactly who you are. If you care, your sincerity, your devotion to them, your honesty and your integrity, your ability to identify where am I holding in the curriculum and build me from there. And therefore, in the world of sales, building rapport, communicating value, and showing the relevance equals sold. Well, what about the price tag? The price tag is irrelevant because I must have it. I hope I'm bringing this out clearly. The moment you got it at a must-have, you're willing to be moiser nefesh for Kodesh Baruch Hu because it's not negotiable. My Yiddishkeit is not negotiable. How do you get to be so strong? Well, I had a Rebbe, I had a Mora who inspired me. I had a Rebbe who taught me the history timeline and identified this is the beginning of time, this is the end of time, this is where you are, and helped me identify throughout the week, constantly cross-referencing throughout the different Chumash lessons and Nach lessons, and when we learn about Purim, where are we on the timeline? We're learning about in Chumash, in the Parasha, where are we on the timeline? We're learning about history, Tisha B'Av, where are we on the timeline? We're coming up to Pesach, where are we on the timeline? Or Yetziat Mitzrayim, Matan Torah. The children are getting it. You're giving added value, added relevance, and that is building my identity as a Jew, and I'm proud. And you're doing it with simcha. There's so many pieces here that you're selling. In your store, your classroom, you've got a jar of respect. You've got a jar of devotion to the children. You've got a jar of skills, a jar of all the academics. You've got a jar of how to reach the child where he is. You've got a jar of not making the kid wrong. You've got a jar that helps the child when he puts his hand up and gets the wrong answer. You ask him, what's your thinking behind your answer? And so you're helping the children become a thinking class. You made a rule in the classroom, there's no guessing. And when the children hear the reasoning, the guessing is a substitute, not always, but often, for thinking. And they start realizing, you're making me think. And I start growing from it. And you help me in recess to stand up for myself. And what ends up happening is the children adore, love, respect this Rebbe. He can sell them anything. Sold. So that's what we're really trying to bring out in the art of the sale.